Hey gang, Kevin here, Life22, and I know you just saw me not too long ago, but so I've got two more to review, and I want to get a sit down with maybe one of the boys, probably tomorrow. Um, but this one is the review of Stone Soup. So Stone Soup is a kid's story. It's about 10 minutes long. It is by Marcia Brown, if I remember correctly. Let's see here. Stone Soup by Marcia Brown. Come on, it should take you like seconds. 10 megabytes on your
This is Audible.
Okay. Stone Soup by Marcia Brown. Okay, great, perfect. So guess what? There are like no chapters to this. Yeah, 0 chapters, because the listen on this one is 9 minutes and 58 seconds. Oh wait, no, 10 minutes on the dot. 10 minutes. It's a 10-minute listen on Audible. I think the book costs like $1. But I mentioned to my kids, and I said, hey guys, who's ever heard of Stone Soup? And Lachlan raised his hand because he read it in school. And so the story's about 3 soldiers traveling through a town, and these peasants see these 3 soldiers, and they say, oh shit, soldiers are hungry. Soldiers, they eat a lot. They're always asking for stuff. So the townsfolk hide all their food. And when the soldiers ask if they have a place to crash, they say, no, sorry, all our beds are taken, or our beds are broken, or whatever. And they come up with all these excuses on why the soldiers can't stay there. And then the soldiers say to themselves, we've got, the soldiers say, well, if you have nothing to eat, maybe we can make some stone soup. And they pique the interest of the townfolk. And they say, you know what goes, we need a big pot, some water, the biggest, roundest stones you can find, 3 big round ones. They throw it in, and the people are all intrigued. They're like, you know what goes good with stone soup? Carrots and barley and beef and potatoes and salt. And they started adding all these different things to the soup, and the people were, well, you know what, I have a little bit I can spare. And the whole town comes together and starts unhiding their food and taking it all and putting it in this stone soup. And they all eat the stone soup, which essentially is just 3 stones sitting at the bottom. So you just eat all the other crap around it, right? And they eat the stone soup, and they celebrate, and they have some wine and some beer, and they're dancing, and it's a good old time. And the soldiers are for kind of providing the town with this great experience of coming together and making the stone soup. They eat they're given the best beds to sleep in, the mayor's bed, the priest's bed, and like the baker's bed or something. I guess the baker is a big deal in the hierarchy of this society. But yeah, it's just one of those things. So you're just like, man, and you're probably wondering, like, why the hell did Kevin go out of his way to read this book? Well, because Robert Kiyosaki referred it to us in his 2nd book in the series, what is the business quadrant? Hold on one second. There, his 4 business quadrants book. I believe it's his 2nd one. I pulled the quote from that book. So, leadership is bringing out the best in people. My rich dad's idol was Henry Ford, who, let's see here. This is the wrong. Okay, so his rich dad, he read a book about people like Ford and John D. Rockefeller, the founder of Standard Oil. Rich Dad constantly encouraged me and Mike Encourage Mike and me to learn the essence of leadership, technical skills of business. In retrospective, I understand so many people have one another, blah, blah, blah. Let's see here, really. There is a science as well as an art to business and leadership. For me, both were lifelong studies. When I was a boy, my rich dad gave me the children's book Stone Soup, written in 1947 by Marcia Brown and still available today. He had me read this book at the beginning of my training in leadership and business. And you're probably wondering, why did he read this book? Well, leadership, Rich Dad said, is the ability, let's see. The technical skills of business are easy. The hard part is working with people. As a reminder, I still read Stone Soup today because I personally have a tendency to be a tyrant instead of a leader when things don't go my way. Okay. I often hear the words, I'm going to start my own business. People tend to be financially secure. I feel like there was something in that section there. Anyways, so even Rich Dad Poor Dad uses the lessons of this book, right? And so you're probably wondering yourself, what is the lesson of this book? Well, some people say, my son, when I asked him what he thought the meaning of this was, and we'll have a further discussion with Lachlan, he said it's about sharing, which it is about sharing. But from a business perspective, or something that differentiates you from the culture, is you've brought something to market that no one else has thought of, but it has piqued people's interest, right? Stone soup. Who eats stone soup? Well, guess what? The stones sit in the bottom of the pot. The stones absorb the water. Absorb the heat from the fire, and they become like, something that you don't actually eat, but they kind of vibrate heat through the soup, if you will. And it's something that brings people together. It is a form of sharing. It's just an idea. And it also builds amongst itself a camaraderie. And so to have this mental aspect to a product that you're bringing to market, right? That this thing that can bring people together, to allow them to understand sharing, to celebrate, to just all these different things. It ties the community together, and you're like, man, how can my product do that? Well, I don't have the answer for that, but I can tell you that Stone Soup did it. If Stone Soup can do it, what you bring to the market depends on how you convey it to society. At which point society generates its own worth for something based on how you pitch it, how you sell it, the atmosphere amongst it, right? Where there was atmosphere of misery and dread, and these soldiers are coming through. These guys came through, and they presented these people with Stone Soup. And it allowed them to pour their own interests and their own resources into this for the communal good. And those soldiers profited by it, right? They got soup. They got access into these people's homes, into their bread boxes and their food stores. And they weren't hated for it. They didn't steal. They shared an idea that allowed other people to share what they had with their community. So, hence, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Hence, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki, read this book and then added it to our repertoire. Here we go. Making stone soup is the only way an entrepreneur can succeed at creating something big and bold from nothing. Stones are, of course, your passion, your labor, your big, bold idea. The villagers' contributions are the capital, resources, and intellectual support from investors and strategic partners. There's an idea from Peter Diamandis. It's called Stone Soup, the Entrepreneurial Guidebook. So that was just a quick Google search of stone soup use in business. Listen, and I just Googled that. So everything else that I've been telling you up to this point, like, has been me just kind of free ranting, just based on Robert Kiyosaki threw it to my plate. I listened to it, and then I molded over. That's it. That was it. I found the reference in his book, and until I just Googled that, I mean, it's not hard to take a concept like stone soup and dig it deeper than just a child's story. As we discussed in the last book review, The Old Man and the Sea, sometimes it's something so simple that is the most relatable and becomes the most popular, because it relates to you on a level that you cannot perceive why it's relatable. But if you can figure out a way to make your product stone soup, or come up with a product that is stone soup, and get the people excited about it, how you convey yourself charismatically, from a business perspective, from a blood, sweat, and tears, your labor, your passions, your bold ideas, and utilize that to stir up the village. In this case, it would be capital, resources, intellectual support from investors and strategic partners. Boom. Stone Soup is a very good 10-minute read. It's going to cost you $1 well spent investing in yourself, that you can continue to listen to on Audible year after year. Every 6 months, listen to Stone Soup. What does it hurt? It's 10 minutes. I take poops longer than that. Some people take showers longer than that. You forego one day of a 10-minute shower, you can listen to Stone Soup. You can listen to Stone Soup while you're taking your 10-minute shower, or while you're taking a 10-minute poop. Stone Soup. It's a good listen. And stay tuned, because me and Lachlan will be having a one-on-one discussion, breaking it down between a 7-year-old and a 35-year-old. So, thanks, guys, and we will see you next time on Life22.